Yair Lapid is chairman of the Yesh Atid party and a former Israeli finance minister. Mr. Lapid joins me now from Tel Aviv. Good evening, sir. The Prime Minister says it's an immoral decision, but the Europeans know Israel's position, and the Europeans still say that it is illegal territories, and therefore that the goods cannot be labelled made in Israel. It's as simple as that.
Well, first of all, after 2 months of Jews being stabbed in the streets of Israel, the EU has decided it's time to reward the terrorists and not the victims with this decision. This is not a legal issue. This is not a PR issue. This is political. This is them trying to bend our arm. And you know what? They're not even doing it the proper way, because it's a bad decision all along. First, they included in the decision the Golan Heights. There's not a single Palestinian living in the Golan Heights. And you know what? Let's presume that Israel has decided to give back the Golan Heights as demanded. Whom are we going to give it back to? To ISIS, which are on our border, to Hezbollah, or to Jabhat al-Nusra, which is an affiliation of Al-Qaeda? This doesn't make any sense.
Well, the European Union ambassador to Israel told CNN the EU is not boycotting Israeli products. It just wants their origin to be clearly displayed. Have a listen to what he said, sir.
I would like to very clearly state that the European Union is against boycotts, against isolation of Israel and any form of sanctions. And I think this interpretive notice that we have just introduced today is exactly the opposite. Obviously, it has nothing to do with a boycott, since the products from the settlements are still welcome on the European market as they have been before. The only requirement is now that they have to be under the correct indication of origin of the products.
Isn't that the point? The products are not being boycotted. You can still send as many products as you like from those places. The Europeans just say they require what they believe is a more honest labelling.
Well, you know, it's interesting. What can you do with somebody who's taking up positions against you, and when you are telling him there's something wrong with it, he's saying, you know what, it's not a real position and it's not really against you. This is operated by the BDS movement, the Boycott Israel movement, that has been demanding this from the EU for a long, long time, and now in a terrible, terrible timing got what they wanted. And the fact that they are pretending this is only a technical issue, you know what, let's say they're trying to push Israel into negotiations. The negotiations would be about what are the borders of the future Israel and the future Palestine. Now they predetermined what are the borders, and now they say now you have to go into negotiation of something we have already decided for you. This is patronizing. This is trying to create a reality while bending our arms, and while doing all that, they pretend this is not what they're doing. This is what they're doing. Enough with the hypocrisy. This is the EU hypocrisy, trying to tell us how to run our country.